Welcome into the Packers Report, ladies and gentlemen, your one-stop shop for everything Green Bay Packers. I'm your host, Joey Petersen, and on today's show, we're going to be looking at some free agent targets at the top positions of need for the Green Bay Packers, okay? We're going to target around three positions. Those ones are pass rusher, cornerback, wide receiver. We're going to go over on a list of who's available, what I think the Packers might do, and honestly, if I think they should go free agent or draft or maybe even trade for somebody. Thanks so much for tuning in again, and I got a challenge for you all. I got to point out, it's been an awesome week already on the Packers Report. Okay, we're currently sitting at 440 subscribers. We are only 60 subs away to 500, okay? We're growing on this thing, and I'm going to need each and every one of you guys to help me get to where we want to go. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button for the latest on your favorite team in green and gold. Let's start with the cap situation for Green Bay. They're currently sitting at $43.98 million in cap space. That's around middle of the pack. There's some places, there's some teams like Las Vegas or Washington, they've got about $100 million to play with, but there's also some teams on the bottom end of that spectrum like Baltimore, they've got around like $5 million. And there are some cost-cutting moves you could do to save a little bit of money, like Kingsley Enagbare, right? You could cut him, save $3.4 million, but I don't think that's anything you're going to do. I don't think that's anything that this team should do, right? That's not that much money. And so, let's go back to the biggest needs. The three I've got: pass rusher, cornerback, wide receiver. In my opinion, those are the three things that the Green Bay Packers can improve on the most going in to this next 2025 NFL season. We're going to start with number one, pass rusher, okay? Because if you look at the stats from this past season, they can lie to you a little bit. This team had 45 sacks, a sack percentage of 6.9. One of those top 10, one of those is top 12, right? Both great in each of those statistics. But the truth is when you go a little bit deeper into those statistics, you can realize that, they weren't that great, right? 35% of a pass rush win rate. That's 26th best in the NFL. QB pressures, they only pressured 210 times. That's 19th best in the NFL. And a QB pressure rate of 32.3. That's 20th, right? So they're bottom of the pack at best, middle of the pack in two of those three statistics. So that's why I think you got to go after a top edge rush target in this year's NFL free agency. And here's the 5 top targets in my opinion. Okay, Khalil Mack with the Los Angeles Chargers, Hassan Reddick with the New York Jets. Don't get him. Matt Judon with Atlanta. DeMarcus Lawrence with most recently with Dallas, and Josh Sweat out of Philadelphia. And honestly, guys, I'm here to tell you, I would love anybody on that list except Hassan Reddick. No Hassan Reddick for me, please. But other than that, I love the 4 other guys that we just talked about. The thing that's interesting, the thing you do have to note, though, with those 5 guys is they are all kind of getting up there when it comes to age. Khalil Mack is 33 years old. Reddick's 30. Judon's 32. DeMarcus Lawrence is 32. Josh Sweat is the youngest of the bunch at 27 years old, but he's still like no spring chicken. But I want to talk about 2 of my favorites on that list, okay? Mainly Josh Sweat and Khalil Mack. I think both of these guys could come into Green Bay and just absolutely wreck and absolutely dominate. And I think they could bring that pass rushing presence that Green Bay missed a little bit in 2024. And I think that could make a massive difference for this defense coming into 2025. Okay, pick one out of those 2 for me. Would you rather the Packers sign Josh Sweat in free agency, or would you rather the Packers sign a guy like Khalil Mack? A little bit of an older veteran, but a guy can still absolutely wreck it up there for the quarterback. Let me know in the comment section down below by typing JS or KM. Coming up soon on the Packers Report, as in just in a couple of days, we're going to be talking about the perfect offseason plan. This will be the thumbnail. So if you see this video on YouTube, make sure to click into it. Like the video, watch it all the way through. I'll be laying about my 5-step plan for the Green Bay Packers to have the most success in the 2025 NFL season. All right, number 2 on the Packers' biggest needs, at least in my opinion, is the cornerback position. And there's some good options, in my opinion, in that cornerback position in free agency. I want to start talking about the cornerback position with Green Bay, though, because I think Jaire gets traded in the next 45 days. Okay, I know that's a random number. I know it feels like I'm kind of pulling that out of thin air. And you asked me, Joey, why 45 days? That seems a little bit like kind of out of nowhere. Well, if you're a team looking to trade for Jaire Alexander, if you do it before March 15th, which is in, 45 days from now, you only have a cap hit of $16.15 million. If you trade for him post March 15th, that goes up $9 million to a almost $0.5 million cap hit. So if you are looking to sign a guy like Jaire Alexander, to trade for a guy, I should say, like Jaire Alexander, and you're another team, you're going to make sure you do it before March 15th, okay? Let's talk about the free agents, that are available for the Green Bay Packers. I really, really like DJ Reed, and I really, really like Charvarius Ward. Those are going to be the guys we talk about a lot on today's show, but Rasul Douglas is promising, Carlton Davis III, Asante Samuel Jr. I do like Paulson Adebo as well. Jonathan Jones, he's getting a little bit older. I think Stephon Gilmore probably isn't a guy I want to go after, but let's talk a little bit about DJ Reed, okay? He's a smaller corner, 5'9", 188 pounds, but this last year, per PFF, he had a 51.28% lockdown percentage. He's gone 6 straight seasons of a coverage grade of 70 or more. And the thing I love most about DJ Reed is he'd be relatively cheap for the production that you've gotten from him. And from the production I believe you'll get from him in the future. His projected contract is 3 years and $14 million per year. Okay, so I think there's a chance you could get him at that price, and I think he'd fit great in Green Bay, especially if Jaire Alexander is no longer on this roster. And the thing about the cornerback position, in my opinion, if this is not addressed in free agency, I think this is a position that could be addressed when you look at the 2025 NFL Draft. I think this could be a first-round position you address in the 2025 NFL Draft. In my opinion, it's either going to be edge rusher or it's going to be cornerback. And if you look at Kiper's big board of his best draft rankings for cornerbacks heading into 2025, he's got a lot of good ones, and he's got a lot of good ones high, right? Will Johnson, Siobhan Revel Jr., Benjamin Morrison, Maxwell Harrison. Those 3 guys are the 3 most realistic guys to be there at 23. I think Siobhan Revel Jr., Benjamin Morrison, they'll be about their range. Maxwell Harrison, I think, will be later in that first round, with Will Johnson coming earlier. But still, Jahdae Barron is really promising. Quincy Riley and the rest of these guys in this 6 through 10 range, I believe, are going to be second-round selections. Wouldn't mind going corner in the second round, but if it's that big of a need and Jaire Alexander's gone and you don't have DJ Reed on this team in free agency, then I do think that you go cornerback in the first round of this draft. Okay, Quincy Riley showed a lot of promise at Louisville. Obviously, you're going to have a Louisville possibly departing. I think Trey Amos, of these guys right here, is the guy, in my opinion, that has the most promise in that second round or second or third day in the NFL Draft. Okay, you guys tell me in the comment section down below, what is the Packers' biggest need? Okay, let me know in the comment section. Be creative. If it's, if you agree with me, don't be scared to say so. But if you don't, let me know what position you think it is. Let's go back to the biggest needs graphic. And we hit cornerback, we hit pass rusher off the top. Let's talk about wide receiver, okay? Because there's some pretty good ones in free agency, but honestly, there's only one that really catches my eye. And this is the cornerbacks that we just looked at. We're going to pull up the wide receiver graphic in just a little bit, but I think a guy like T. Higgins is the most, on that list of top free agent wide receivers. I think T. Higgins is the number one guy on that list, okay? I think if it's not Higgins, honestly, I don't necessarily think I'm super interested. I think you got a lot of older guys. I think you got a lot of guys that have had great careers. And if you had a number one wide receiver on this team flat out, then sure, add those guys. But in my opinion, this is a roster and this is a wide receiver room that is still kind of waiting for that no doubt about it, number one guy to really show himself, right? Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, they're all solid choices. They're all solid wide receivers, but are any of them wide receiver ones? I don't know. Christian Watson, he tore his ACL at the end of the season. Obviously, it's brutal. You don't know if he's going to be in this system. However, Graziano of ESPN is projecting a 4-year, $114 million contract with $70 million guaranteed. That would put him at seventh most or seventh highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League. So it's a lot of money. It's a lot of cheddar. But if you don't believe that this team has a wide receiver one, Higgins is the only guy of the free agents, I believe, that can be that wide receiver one. Shout him out for me in the comment section down below. Name a player you want the Packers to sign in free agency. Let me know who it is. I named a ton. Let me know if you agree with some of mine, or let me know if you got a random one that you're just like, I think this would be a great move. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching again. It's been an awesome week on the Packers Report. The first full week on the Packers Report in history. If you've joined us, thanks so much for doing so. And if you haven't yet, make sure to do me one thing. Hit that sub button.